monster inside of me. You better watch out if you ignite me's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows mean. He gets claws real big, pissed off quick, and if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score, never getting bored, loves the blood and gore, always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really understand until they feel the.
All right, everybody, welcome into Real Talk with Spoon and Pudding. This will be episode 63. I'll be the one and only Big Spoon.
Everybody, that'd be Pudding. It'd be putting my opinion where it don't belong. Like always.
Well, I don't have my book with me, but I'll give it a try anyway.
Yeah,
this podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Pudding do not accept any responsibility or liability for anyone, our guests, or anyone's comments and actions based on this podcast or the material we talk about on this podcast. We're just here to share our thoughts and opinions, and anytime we have any evidence, it will be brought forth. There shall be no adding to, editing, or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Pudding. You can reach us at realtalkwithspoonandpudding@gmail.com. So what's up, Pudding?
Hell of a week. Weeks.
Yeah.
Everything's just kind of blurring together these days. It seems like everything's just going faster and faster.
Well, it's getting warmer, and
it's kind of like kind of like that rocket track on MythBusters, and you're right there at the end, and you know you're about to hit the brick wall. It's like, top speed is achieved.
It's getting warmer, more things to do outside, more.
Going out and having fun.
Yeah.
Oh man, been great with that. Been to Nashville Shores a couple of times, and I think 3 now. Went to the pool. You went to the pool. Oh man, some poor kid. How was your thing at the pool anyway? The Gallatin pool.
It was the Tommy Garrett, whatever. It was real crowded when we got there. About 3:30. It thinned out a lot, so it was a whole lot better. But
no. Well, I don't really have a whole lot on the slate today. Just watching all this crazy madness go on and on and on. It's like, how do you pick a story and talk about it anymore?
Well, I mean, you got so much. You got the Trump supposed trial thing, and then he's going to be running for president again. And you got, the crazy.
My dad screaming that Biden's in trouble and lawyering up, and I'm like, you got the crazy far right Republicans, and you got the crazy far left Democrats. There's so much you could talk about, but you got the supposed submarine. I say that was what a joke. Let's go down on a submarine, guys. That'll be a good idea.
Okay. And people don't understand. It's just a big distraction of what's really going on in the world.
Everything's a distraction anymore. It just gets you. They'll touch on a subject, tell you the truth, and then move along. It's like, but the only thing like I said, the only thing I really wanted to get on here is tell everyone, happy 247th birthday next Tuesday to the country, 1 week away. But that was I believe it was completely ratified on July 2nd. It's when they finished affixing all the signatures. It was 2 days prior to being the date that was celebrated. But it took time to get it out to all the newspapers and get everything. So it became July 4th was when it was like the official announcement and proclamation of we're independent from Britain and we're going to war. And like you said, it was years later before we won the independence.
Yeah, this was declared in 1776, but we still had to win our independence.
I
was thinking 1781. 81 was stuck in my mind, but
I don't know if it was 80. It might have been 83, 84. It was almost a 7-8 year war, I thought. So it went on for a while, but of
course, then they come back years later and we had to kick their ass again.
They come back 1812 and burn down the White House. Yeah, people don't know. There's a lot of history. A lot of people don't know. Burned down the White House, and James Madison was president. He had to flee the White House. Sometimes it was lit on fire. The British captured it. He had to leave. Same as like when Richmond burned in the. How
well did that work out for him, though?
A couple of years later, this man from Tennessee area called Andrew Jackson. Gave him a what for? That was
They got on their
man.
ships with their tails between their legs and went back home again.
Yeah. Oh, I think he was getting 2.5 to 1 or something. It was 2.53 or so. It was a massive. He kicked the snot out of him down there in New Orleans. But that made him famous and got him where he was. But everyone just think about your country and your history and hope we make it to 250 years. You know,
we've made it a lot longer than we probably should have with the how far we've turned the opposite direction from what our forefathers fought for.
I think it could legally be stated that in the 1910s when the Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Van Buren. Well, I don't know if the Van Burens were really much of a part of it, but the Morgan Chases, when they started doing their conglomerate, that's whenever the Tree of Liberty should have been watered with an ass load of blood. You know what I mean? Because that was post Civil War was a centralization takeover. And then in the 1810s, the 1820s, they really started rolling in the carpet. And
well, then you got to think about
that would have been pre my grandparents. All my grandparents, none of them were born in them 10 years.
We'll tie this. What year did the Titanic sink? Let's tie all this together.
Somewhere around that same time, when the 1914s.
1912, wasn't it?
1912. It was in that area. Yeah.
Well, anyway, but you had a whole lot.
Titanic. Yeah.
Well, it was destined to sink. That was the whole plan. You had a whole lot of rich people.
See, our buddy from White House said that he thought this submersible might what's going to happen if they get down there and they find a torpedo hole in it, like thinking that maybe it was sunk on purpose deliberately, like the Lusitania.
It was sunk on purpose.
Whether it was sunk by a tornado or iceberg, whatever.
Well, you got to think there was a lot of rich people. I'm talking about rich, wealthy people that were supposed to be on that ship. And a lot of them were still on that ship, but you got like your Rothschilds and some of those who got off at the last minute. That ship was destined to sink. The people that were supposed to die on that ship, they died. Unfortunately, there was a lot of innocent people that had to die too. But, you know, the rich, wealthy, powerful, they don't care about innocent people. Then you come back to Woodrow Wilson and the Federal Reserve and the Bankers bought America. You know,
they didn't buy America; they took over America.
Well, either way you want to say it. I mean, like even nowadays,
like a lot of people, you know, when it comes to the history portion, I'm trying to look here at the American Revolution, blah blah blah, Continental Color Flag, date 17. Well, it says 1783. See, we were a confederacy first. That was, you know, they had to have a government on 1776. They had to have a government. So basically, Benjamin Franklin sat down in a rush draft and, you know, penned out the Articles of Confederation. You know, it wasn't the, you know, to form a more perfect union, which is what the Constitution was. Trying to look up the dates here. I'm reading Wikipedia, a lot not trustworthy, but you know, I'm sure these dates are to the fact, you know, to the fall at Yorktown in the fall of 1781, effectively securing American victory and bringing the war to an end. The Treaty of Paris was signed in September 3rd, 1783, formally ending the conflict and confirming the new nation's complete separation from the British Empire. So it was. There were still skirmishes going on from 81 to 83, but Yorktown
the Titanic sank April 14th, 1912.
Okay, so
same year the Federal Reserve was formed, right?
I thought the Federal Reserve was 13 or 14. Was it 12?
Well, yeah, I think it was 13, but Woodrow Wilson and all that stuff, it happened 1912, 1913.
Well, yeah, Woodrow Wilson was president, or he was put in secretly by the bankers after Teddy Roosevelt.
So it all ties together, you know.
It can.
If the rich, wealthy people that did die on the Titanic and were supposed to die on the Titanic, if that hadn't happened, the Federal Reserve wouldn't have happened when it happened in this country.
No, but it's like, you know, was it 1916 the Lusitania was sunk, you know, or let me see when the Lusitania was sunk.
Was it 15 or 17?
What, the Lusitania? Lusitania history. 1915.
Yeah.
A German U-boat on British ocean liner, the sinking of which by a German U-boat on May 7th, 1915, contributed indirectly to the entry of the United States into World War I. So,
was the Lusitania, was that supposedly the biggest ship?
I don't know. There's the picture of the Lusitania. But that was, you know, like I said, there was a lot of moving wheels. And in the 1920s, you know, they come out with the League of Nations. Anybody wonders where, what was it? What's the DC League of Justice League? You wonder where that came from. It came from the 1920s in the League of Nations, which failed. It was UN 1.0. It was the first attempt at a global government by these money powers. And it wasn't until the 1930s when they actually bankrupted the damn country. And just that was whenever they really gained control.
Well, the turn of the 20th century into the 1900s.
There were a handful of people that had more money than they knew what to do with.
That's where the wheels started coming off, it seems like.
The wheels started really coming off after the reconstitution from the South and the North. And they reconstitute them and they come in with the, you know, was it the 15th Amendment or whatever, 14th Amendment, whichever one it was that was, you know, talking about United States citizens. They wanted to, because before you were a citizen of your state, you know, like me being birthed in Florida, I would have been a Floridian. You in Tennessee, you would have been a Tennessean. You know, that would be our country. It's where we came from. That was the way the country was viewed. 1859, 1866 become, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's whenever the new Reconstruction began, where they didn't want you to have state pride, which was horseshit, I think. You know, I mean, just because you're a Frenchman in Europe, you're not considered yourself an EU man. You consider yourself a fucking Frenchman.
Well,
you know,
even though you're born in Florida and I'm born in Tennessee, you're still, you know, thinking yourself
still
as
an American, but
American.
You should be. Look at the mindset. Look at this is what like me and your neighbor when we were talking about language and fluidity. We had a conversation about this, and I told him why I didn't, because I didn't agree with changing the language of marriage to include two men, two women, man, woman. I didn't agree with that because there's no reason. Marriage is already a man and a woman. Yes, it's what it's been defined as for years. And when I expressed it, I said, look, here's the deal. When you start changing the language, now you've lost fluidity. You're standing on this quicksand because now it could be two men, two women. You're adding new things into that category. And it becomes, you know, so think about the changing of your mindset. In 1859, you're born in Tennessee, I'm in Florida. That's what we're raised to believe. That's our country. So once that generation dies off 80 years later, 70 years later, 60, however long it takes, and now you're born as from California to New Jersey, you know, up there, it's all one. No, it's not. Bullshit. There's a huge difference between a Floridian and a Washingtonian, whatever you want to call them up there. One of them Portlanders up in Oregon. There's a massive difference between them two. You know, but we're all supposed to be, you know, it's like Pledge Allegiance, which is, again, I refuse to do it because I know it came out of socialist Germany. That's what it came from. If y'all have ever seen them people goose stepping and, you know, Heil Hitler, and if you've ever seen it, that's where it came from. National pride. you know, and it was brought over here. Everything that Germany was doing in the 1940s was brought the hell over here, and too many people are too blind to realize it. That's, but again, please read the Founders. That's all I can say. You don't have to read the Founders. Go look on HBO. Find John Adams. It's on HBO Max. It's free. If you've got HBO Max, it's there. You don't got to pay for it.
What? It's not HBO Max anymore. It's just Max.
Max, whatever. It's HBO. And I try to tell everybody that, there was the you I met before you watched it, and then there was the you after it. If you wasn't a complete 100% libertarian before it, you was after it.
I'm still not a complete libertarian, but because I don't book myself to a party. But
complete it to me, I think it completely breaks the chains to party over, party pride or whatever the hell you want to do it. Because that wasn't what this country was founded. It wasn't founded on party pride.
No.
The country was founded on, state pride and independence and wanting your freedom.
And our forefathers warned us about the two-party system.
Oh, God, yes, they did. They warned about the two parties. They warned about the banks. They warned about taxes and central government. Warned about everything. You read them. They warned about it. They knew what was going to happen. I've said it on this podcast before, and I'll say it again. When Franklin come out of that thing and was asked, well, what form of government did you give us? And he said, a republic. You can keep it. Because he knew what was going to happen. They had seen it. They had, how they knew? Because they read the history of Rome. They knew exactly what was going to happen.
Well, that's why I said I can't believe that 247 years later that we've made it this far. And I guess we've made it this far is because they've stripped pretty much all of our rights and our liberties from us. I mean, what people say we're a free country. What are you free to do? Nothing. Everything that you want, you have to buy back from the government. You want to drive a car? You got to go buy a license, right? You want to fish? You got to go buy a license.
Buy a used car that's already been paid taxes on to the state in the same state. Pay more taxes.
And you got to
buy your house, and then send the state, $800 in property taxes every damn year. And all of this, every bit of this could be done away with. Every bit of it, 100%. You could do away with it tomorrow if you had smart people in there, and it could be run. It could be run. It could be run on interest. You could run it on interest, Bone. I guarantee it. Well, you never get non-greedy people. Let's segue into the radio interview with that. I told you I wanted to bring it up because I didn't listen to the mayor.
It was last.
Was it last Tuesday or the one before?
It was last Tuesday morning, I think. Yeah, I think it was last Tuesday morning. Our Mayor Callis is on the radio, and I can't remember the guy's name that does it, but he puts out his email and even a phone number for people to text to ask questions. Mayor Callis, he runs off numbers. He knows everything, And then somebody sent in a question about how far in debt we were. And he was like, well, I don't know that number right off the top. And I'm like, dude, you run off numbers all the time, which are not, most of them ain't right anyway, but he wants you to think they are. But you don't know how far in debt we are. Because I think the person said, well, somebody said we're like $50 million in debt. How far in debt we are? And he was like, well, I don't know the number right off the top of my head.
Sidestepped it.
Yeah. But
that's why I would have been texting back in like, well, don't sidestep it, ballpark it for me.
Then he's like, well,
let's ballpark it in the 8 figures that you idiots have run up.
And he's like, I don't think it's that much. But then he's like, well, I can say we got this $11 million bond and we got this $6 million. It went through like 3 or 4. And I was sitting there going, listen, and I was like, dude, you're already at 31 million. And that's just in your tenure here of the bonds you're talking about, And then they started talking about fire truck costing right at $1 million. And then the next one's like 1.9 million that they got coming. And I'm sitting there thinking, so you run off all these numbers, we're 4.5 million in the surplus, which is a lie. That's half truths. I ain't gonna say it's a lie, it's half truths because if you're $50 million in debt, there's no way you got a $4.5 million surplus. Yeah, you're on paper you do. I mean, anybody can do that. But you run off all these numbers of all the great things that y'all doing, and I'm not saying they ain't doing good things. I'm just saying stop spitting the half truths. Let's tell it how it is. That
Look, the first time and a lot of the rest of them. Go ahead, sorry.
I said him and a lot of the rest of them in our town government, they want everybody to think that everything's great, everything's perfect, and then they look at us. Well, all y'all want to do is talk about the bad stuff. Well, they won't give you the full truth, so somebody's got to give you the truth.
In my opinion, there is nothing. If they're not even willing to sit down, none of them. We did talk to the vice mayor at one time, and I told him what was really bugging me. And what did we talk for? About an hour and a half, 2 hours. What really bothers me is the fluoride. Fluoride, that's a huge one. That one bugs the shit out of me. Sorry. And I tried to talk to the mayor about it that time, and that was the same day that, he said that, what did he say? Talk to your, have one of the councilmen put it on him. And I told you, did you, at the time, it was, what's his name? Did you text him and ask him to get fluoride on the agenda?
Yeah, I tried with two or three different ones.
So you did try to get the discussion of removing fluoride from the water on the agenda. Even the mayor said,
even Vice Mayor McDowell. Even Vice Mayor McDowell. He wasn't Vice Mayor then, but
then you did ask him. Yeah, I asked him. I know I'm not a citizen in Portland, but you are, and you were on the phone, and we both talked about fluoride, and let's get it on the agenda. And what happened? That mayor that can't remember the exact damn number or ballpark it refused to put it on the agenda last year, or refused to even have a discussion about it. And again, unless he wants to come out and tell us, well, it cost us this much, and I got the receipts, but the state gives us 3 times that money, which is money we can blow on fire truck tires. Be honest, Mayor, because again, that's where you made me as your adversary. But there's no point in talking to you. And it's been over a damn year, or pretty much a year, right at it.
Well, speaking on that, I think it was the last meeting. I'm pretty sure it was the last meeting that they had a motion to change, I guess, companies or something because the chemicals that they put in the water and fluoride was one of them. So you might want to go back and watch that.
I didn't see it. I don't watch no more because until I know about it, or if somebody's willing to have a discussion. And again, Callis, you'll go on the radio and talk to the few listeners they have in Portland. Yeah, but you'll come on here and discuss anything. Why? Because we ain't gonna throw softballs at you or let you slide on it.
I think the guy goes on.
You'll put the budget up on screen and say, well, there it is right there. Just in case you didn't see it. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Well, he goes on there with another preacher host, and he's this great Christian man and a preacher himself. So
2 snake charmers.
Just like the guy before him that we talked about last time or time before that's been indicted for.
You're agnostic clown speaking up, telling everyone 2 snake charmers in a room together, charming each other. So telling each other how big that lamb is they're about to slaughter. And in the end, it's kind of what they're doing to you.
Well, what I'm saying is you got the preacher host, and then you got the preacher mayor. They're both godly men. The mayor doesn't do anything wrong, and because he's been a preacher and he's a godly man, he's the best thing ever. He would never lie or do anything wrong.
I really kind of want to wear a spaghetti colander into the DMV when I think my license is up in 24, 20. It's getting close, or I'm going to go get another picture. I really want to put a spaghetti colander on my head and wear it.
But we just did on the podcast last time or time before where the other Christian radio host that was indicted for theft over $250,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But they always want to stand on. Well, he's a good godly man. He was a preacher. Da, 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 da. Yeah, because they never do anything wrong, right? The Catholic priest, they never do anything wrong. Look, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I love God more than the next man, but I don't use it as a crutch. I don't use it to trick people. I don't use it to commit crimes. So it kind of is what it is. If that's your bread and butter and you hang on because he was a preacher and he's a godly man, I guess it kind of is what it is.
I'm looking up the pictures. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about.
It's about wearing the colander on your head and drive your Killdozers.
There's more of them. There they are. So if y'all don't know what it is, it's a spaghetti colander driver license photos. These are photos of people who went in wearing a spaghetti colander on their head. And the DMV has to let you do it because a funny agnostic atheist guy from some years back started the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Right.
Come on now. Even though you got to have a sense of humor on that, Mr.
I mean, it's so stupid, but it's funny
it's
too.
Stupid, but it's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. You let a 13, 1400-year-old religion of Muslims go in there with their garb on or their headdresses or whatever. They're allowed to wear that because it's religious and freedom of religion.
Well, this country is founded on freedom, so whatever religion you start, it is what it is.
That's what I'm saying. When I heard about that, I've always thought about that because that would, honestly, if I was a cop and I seen that, I would just, here you go, get out of here. Fucking get out of here. You know what I mean? If I was a cop and you're going to see some fucked up shit in this world, that would be just something that would make me smile so much. I just get the fuck out of here, man. Just go. You're free. I don't give a fuck. You do it 90 and a fucking 50. Get the fuck out of here. Let's go.
It's kind of like with the Fish and Wildlife. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. Like they stepped on the boat and the guy showed him his ID and he kind of looked, made sure they didn't have nothing. And he asked the guy, he said, anything on the boat that shouldn't be? He said, only you. And the cop just had his license back, laugh and step back on his boat. He's like, I'm not even going to check now. A lot of times, if you make them laugh, they'll leave you alone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shit, that would be. I mean, like I said, and not for that reason. I'm just saying, it would be fun because you're not supposed. I mean, you go in there with this on, or you go in there with a, whatever. Go in there with any kind of hat on there. Go in there with a straw hat because you're in the Church of the Farming Institution. They'll make you take that fucking hat off.
What's the same thing with the panhandlers? It's the same thing with the panhandlers. How many panhandlers do you give money to? If they have a brilliant side that make you laugh, you throw them a few bucks.
Well, yeah, no. If I look at the sign and I have a couple dollars, usually I don't carry cash. I mean, just not carrying cash just avoids the argument altogether. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do, so the argument just is automatic. But if I had cash,
till you get one that's got a cell phone and a little slider says, "Can I use your debit card?"
I'll be like, "Oh shit!" Then I'll be like, "Well, you didn't say why lie. I need a beer, so no." You know what I mean? If you would have said something like, "Wife and dog kidnapped by ninjas, need money for karate classes or karate classes. I really miss my dog." If you would have had something like that, I mean, maybe. But you don't, but no, I know what you mean. That would be fucked up if he slider. What, you got a square? You ain't even got a fucking square. What are you talking about? Fucker. Shit.
They busted some of panhandlers that make lots and lots of money. A lot more money than me and you put together.
Trey and Matt on some South Park used to talk about that all the time. They talked about, they did the change episode and the commentary to that with all the homeless people walking around. They said, we got this idea because we was looking out our window and we seen them out there panhandling. And there were three or four of them. He said they were taking turns. They were shifts. There was a couple of them hiding under the overpass. And then one would come out and work it for like 45 minutes, an hour, and he'd go back under the overpass. Another one would come out like a tag team. They would relieve each other. And he said, we must have counted that. He said they were making $20 to $40 an hour every hour on the hour, just constantly, at least. He said that's just counting that what they were being handed was dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said it was, he said it was insane how much people give. And I don't know, man. Don't feed the bears. Ain't you heard that expression? Don't feed the bears. You know, same with the government. Don't feed food stamps. Why are you feeding the bears?
Well, you know my expression about the bears.
What's that?
Well,
Smack the shit out of them.
Yeah, when people say don't poke the bear, I like to smack the shit out of him so he knows I'm there.
I'll knock the shit out of it. Make it know you're there. I fell asleep before the end, but I did watch that Cocaine Bear. It's actually on Peacock. I couldn't believe it. Was it Peacock or was it another one? I don't know. It was on one of them. I think it was Peacock. The Cocaine Bear movie about the crazy bear in Georgia and Knoxville. It went nuts.
Yeah.
Just released in theaters this year, I think. And it's already on the platform, you know. It's kind of stupid. Of course, it's over exaggerated.
They don't stay in theaters very long anymore. About a month. If
No,
that,
it's too much. But no, I ain't, like I said, other than everyone have a happy 4th. We'll probably, I don't know, we'll be back on what, 5th maybe? We need to, thinking about Sunday again. So y'all know, you know, I've switched jobs a couple times, but and switching jobs, days off kind of change, you know. Spoons, you know, had some.
Well,
you couldn't find your laptop for a little while, right?
No. When you got 2 truck drivers that work kind of different schedules, you gotta kind of find the happy medium, and then we could have done one a few days ago, but it was my fault because I was tired and I wanted to go to bed. So
yeah, well, Saturday, right? Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, I slept in late. You probably time I got up on Sunday morning, you was probably already asleep.
Yeah.
You know,
so
I wake up till like 8:39.
So if we skip a week or a few days, you might as well just count on that our schedule didn't link up or something going on. But
I'm thinking here at my current one, Sunday morning's always gravy ready. You know.
Oh, okay. So we may go back to Sunday mornings until he changes again.
Back in the old days. Back in the old, when we first started it, I was working with you over there at Cowan, you know, and I didn't get work till Monday anyway. Sunday was the last day of my day times off, which is kind of now back there with you know, working for the different grocery carrier, not the one that says and gaslights you, we're safer than the regulation. Yeah, you're safer than what?
Well, you won't be able to do one this Sunday.
No. Maybe next. That's what I'm saying. I don't. Well, let's just do one Wednesday. You okay for Wednesday? You're off for how many days after your?
If I'm in town.
Are you going out of town for your?
I might. I don't know. I ain't made up my mind yet. But I'm gonna be off from this Friday, through next Sunday. I'll go back to work next Sunday. So
hell of a time.
I got like 9 days off. So
yeah, I think you and Miss Spoon ought to go on a honeymoon.
Yeah. We might go out of town somewhere. So if we don't get back on here one day during the week, then we'll see you.
Yeah, we're not back Wednesday. You said you're back till Sunday, right?
Well, I go back to work Sunday night, so we'll see. We'll at least be on here next Sunday, a week from Sunday.
At least if we can't figure it out Wednesday, because like I said, you got a long time off. But anyhow, I don't know. Like I said, we ain't got, huh?
I need that long time off too.
Oh, don't we all? But it's an okay show, I guess. Other than really, I don't want to talk about. I'm just, I'm so over everything. I don't want. I've seen enough.
We'll put together a better show for next time. We'll have.
Yeah, we'll set a plan with research.
But just remember your forefathers. Remember your Constitution.
Yeah, remember what it was for and what it was about.
Like you said,
read it, understand it.
If you don't want to research, go watch John Adams on Max.
John Adams, I'm telling you, man, I'm surprised they ain't took it off by now. To try to hide it. It's just, I think it's that good. But all right, well, we'll see.
Happy Independence Day, anybody going out of town. Y'all be safe. We hope to see y'all.
Yeah, have fun. Don't get too drunk and But all right, we'll see y'all later.
Hit the music.
Hard list in the darkness. Tore apart quick. You left scars ripped. You be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept